And hello.
Hello, everybody.
Center myself. Shut up, Google. Stop listening.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 23 of the General Admissions Podcast. I'm finally joined after 5 long months of our previous episode. John, good to see you. Good to be in person again, and
Good to be seen.
It's fucking awesome to see you, man. I'm really stoked. So real quick, we're gonna cover a few things here, but pretty much let us know if you guys can hear us okay, see us okay. If there's anything you want to ask us, please feel free to message us in chat. If you want to contribute to the cause that is the General Admissions Podcast, go to the link in the description to streamlabs.com/ General Admissions Podcast. I think that's what it is. It should be in the description. It's all there. You can help us out directly through that and support the podcast so that we can keep doing this. If you wish to do super chats and tips through Twitch, which we are currently live on both right now, that's at General Admissions Podcast. You can do that, but if you want to support us directly, best thing to do is check us out in the link in the description. We also are on other social medias, all that fun stuff. Bullshit. Let's dive right into it. So, this handsome man. It's good to see you, man.
I know.
What's been going on? Bring us all up to speed.
I like how we're mildly pretending like we haven't been seeing each other behind the scenes.
I know, we've hung out a couple times since, and we let the kids run around and we shoot the breeze, but
that's basically what's been going on. It's just focusing on doing the dad thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm really stoked to announce the things that we're doing and everything.
Well, I'll give a quick rundown.
Yes, please.
I'll give a quick rundown. So I'm sure like the last time that we talked, I know that we got a couple like missing episodes that are hidden right now that got to be edited and then released, and we're going to do those. And yes, I miss you too, Raven. Trust me. And I miss doing this. But the last time that we talked, I know it was sort of an update on like my health. My health wasn't good, but gladly I have recovered to some extent. You never really completely, recover from heart failure, but I feel like I'm doing better.
I think you are.
Yeah. My color's better. Once I got my CPAP machine, it definitely improved a lot of my quality of life and whatnot, and I'm able to keep up with the kids a little bit better, and obviously I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
So and now that we have more free time, we're going to focus on this.
100%.
Yes.
Have there been any hobbies that you've been getting into recently?
I mean, I was talking about Warhammer the last time. I got into that around like November. That's and that has expanded to a disgusting amount, but yeah. How about you?
Again, support us at General Admissions Streamlabs so we can afford more Warhammer 40K addictions. Took you long enough. I know we're here. We're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
What's up, Pop?
There he is. So I just had surgery 6 months ago. I'm still seeing a surgeon regularly. It's a long process. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. This has been going on for like 2 years now. I know you're sort of new to the chat, but yeah, I got diagnosed with heart failure, atrial fibrillation, cardiomyopathy, and all strange because I was very active, very gym rat, always working out. It was literally like that was my original hobby, and then I just got knocked down a peg, and I was told like I can't do any of that stuff, but I'm finally getting to the point where I think I can actually start working out and exercising a little bit. I've been practicing, like, I don't know, it sounds ridiculous, but like walking,
me and my dad were just talking about that too.
It's silly, but yeah, it's, there was a point in time where going up and down the steps, getting out of bed, like was an effort, running out of breath.
Yeah, you were telling me about how like just going up and down the steps once you were like winded.
Holding a conversation. Mm-hmm. If you notice, I'm not huffing and puffing right now.
Yeah.
And like before, that was a thing. Like if I started getting worked up, I'd be and I'd have to hide it.
Mm. And that's causing that you trying to hide it. It's just more effort.
Yeah, is making it worse.
Yeah, but no, I'm really.
And I'm sorry to hear what you're going through, James. I mean, hopefully
James is a good dude.
stick it out. It'll work out.
I figured it was you, Stock. Good to see you, my man. The yeah, it's really been kind of a roller coaster the past like half a year with everything going on, but I'm glad that we're finally getting on the right track of like getting on, doing this again, because this is nice.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Trust me, there's tons of times where I'm like watching something or doing something and I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that. Oh, I want to talk about that. Oh, I want to talk about that.
I know.
I'm trying to find the time, but now time's not really
even
a problem.
Even like when we were on the phone the other day, it's like you and I are like those two old moms on the long, extra long corded phones talking about like, oh, he did what? You're kidding me with the kids in the car.
With the kids in the car.
I can't stand it. But yeah, we have this gift of gab where you and I, like, that's what, I mean, for those of you who don't know, John and I have known each other over half our existence. And we have this charisma where we can shoot the shit for hours and hours. And then one day we were just like, we should do a podcast.
You were 13 years old?
I was 13. Yeah.
You were 13. So you realize that we've been friends longer now at this point than we were alive when we met?
Yeah. That's why I said like more than half our existence. It's wild, but yeah, this is like, I used to wait, but back when we did this regularly, I would wait the whole week to just really sit down and but you never really talk about anything.
We don't really talk about much.
Yeah, we just ramble. We just sit here and just blah blah blah.
This is shaking off the cobwebs. This is trying to get rid of the new streams like nerves.
Yeah,
get that all out of there.
Yeah, but this is I used to wait every week. I'd be like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this on the podcast. And now it's like, but now we've got like so much to talk about. So, I mean, for me lately, as of recently, actually, I am somewhat streaming full time. I'm gonna get back into Twitch soon. I've been streaming on another platform as of right now called joystick.tv, which has been a lot of fun. Really awesome community there, and really it's more, I will say, adult based and community, but they're really cool, really supportive, really awesome space, and I've had a tremendous amount more success on there than I would have ever had on Twitch. But I want to get back into Twitch too, because I do have a somewhat small but loyal following through Twitch, which was fun. But I'm going to be focusing more on like my music, focusing more on the podcast here. I got a few things rattling around in my brain, and one of the things is you and I started working on something.
Well, before we get there.
Okay,
we'll get there
because I'm excited. That's the thing I'm most excited about.
Let's before we get there. So one of the first things that we actually talked about was this week about taking this podcast and shifting gears.
Yes.
I think that's where we should start. I mean, granted, we have things we've been working, but this is sort of what we're going to attack at first.
Yeah. We'll announce the thing we've been working on towards the end of this.
Yeah.
But
so we've been batting around an idea of completely shifting what direction we're going to go in. We're going to start getting into reviewing movies.
Yes.
Pop culture.
Video games.
Music. Things that we enjoy. Things that we're good at. Things we don't enjoy. Things that we don't like.
I have so many things. I've literally been sending things to the General Admissions podcast Instagram so I don't forget it. I'm using it as like kind of a way to save ideas, but it's mainly like just things that I just want to shit on and like just make fun of. And I'm like, why is this?
I think it's a better direction to go into than talking about like semi-current events and
yeah.
and getting away from like, you know, the job that we used to work at, that, you know, and I think it's better to, you know, close the chapter on that end and move forward on a new chapter, and
100%,
and get into things that we, you know, like, not to repeat myself, but that we thoroughly enjoy, like movies and music has literally been like our bonding since we were children. Like that's, so why are we avoiding that? Like, why?
No, this, and I think bringing that up. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust my seating here. I think bringing that up is like kind of a stroke of genius, because I see it as the same concept as when you go to a restaurant and you always feel compelled to, like, I want to talk to the manager when like something is wrong with your order or whatever. But like not a lot of people, like when the service is good and like, you know, everything like that, you want to let the manager know, like, hey, they're doing a great job. We got to kind of do that more with movies and video games and everything else, because like I feel like not enough people are saying this is good, this is bad. Like films, especially in the past like couple decades, are just remakes and reboots and revamps and just and telling the same story over and over, or like doing a prequel or sequel to something that
I don't think I sent you this clip actually, and it's interesting that you brought that up. And it was you're familiar with Jamie Kennedy?
No.
You've never heard of Jamie Kennedy? Malibu's Most Wanted. Really? You don't know Malibu's Most Wanted?
I know. I saw it once, like when it first came out. I know exactly what movie you're talking about, and I was just like, "This is."
I can't quote it, but yeah, it's cringe as fuck.
Yeah, and I love cringy shit, but like it's like
that's Jamie Kennedy's shtick. But
yeah,
he's good, and now he runs a podcast, of course, because everybody does. But he did a podcast with the one, the only, John Lovitz.
No shit.
Yes. They're friends, so of course they did. But John Lovitz, you know, being sort of an elder in that industry, had, you know, because Jamie Kennedy, it was probably one of the most bizarre clips I've ever seen, if you want to talk about, because they're just all over the place. You know, familiar.
Dude, did you see the clips of like John Lovitz and Bill Burr just like just roasting the shit out of each other?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's one
like,
of my favorite clips.
How you could hold a conversation with Lovitz is beyond me. He's hilarious, but he's just so
underrated.
Well, yeah, but that's because, you know, he's from an older generation.
Yeah,
you know, he comes from, and that's actually funny because he says that, like, they were joking back and forth about. Because Jamie Kennedy had off screen, he had I believe a picture of Rodney Dangerfield, and John Lovitz is like looking around, and because Jamie Kennedy's studio is all of his memorabilia from all of his movies.
That's cool.
And John Lovitz is pointing that stuff out, and he's just like looking around, and he looks up at, and he's like, "You got all these things of you, and you have this picture of Rodney Dangerfield." And Jamie Kennedy's like, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "You are no Rodney Dangerfield." I knew Rodney Dangerfield. And I was just like. Just that it's the delivery.
Yeah.
Like
his delivery is great. And his just everything he says like is hilarious. And I love that clip. But I also loved his like, he never had like lead roles, but he was always just that funny, like, you know, supporting role character.
Well, so Kennedy asked him, like, what do you think is new about the industry? Like, what do you think is going on with it? And you know, Lovitz is sort of like, I don't know. Things have changed. You know, he's like, he's not really. He's at sort of the twilight of his career anyway. He's sort of like just relaxing, hanging out with his friends and living off the money that he made through his 30s, 40s, and 50s.
The dream.
But Kennedy brought up a very good point, and what he said was, ever since Netflix and Amazon started producing movies. He went from having like 10, 12 different contracts that were like $10 million movies that were like the low budget films, or like he went from reading like 10 or 12 a day to none. And that's because the industry doesn't want to risk. And I'm sorry, I am quoting.
See, I would have thought it'd be the opposite.
You would think so too, but this is the thing with Netflix and their business model. If it isn't a banger, there's no money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they have to dump $50 million, $100 million, $200 million into making something happen. And because the studio is no longer just supporting the film and the staff and the marketing, now they're also supporting the platform and the contracts for the platform and the marketing for the platform. And, you know, they're also, you know, because if they want to get Back to the Future, they want to get a decent movie, they have to pay the licensing fee for that. And that's not cheap. So if they can't survive, the industry can't survive off of $10 million movies. And that's what Lovitz and Kennedy both said, was like, that's a fucking crime, pardon my language, because, you know, how many movies were a $10 million movie that with the right crew was, you know, out of the ballpark?
Yeah.
You know, like Half-Baked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Malibu's Most Wanted. You know, I can't quote it, but I know that there's tons of people out there who can.
Yeah. There are the movies where they, you know, the gross amount that the movie made compared to how much it was put into it, where it's like, you know, tenfold of, like, you know, those movies are few and far between these days. Right.
Now they're dealing with like razor thin margins. You know, what was the movie that they just did? I just saw. Borderlands 3. They dumped $100 million into that.
I saw
film.
something for a Borderlands movie, and I was like, you know, and like I said, it's everything they're making. Like Amazon put out the Fallout show. You know, and a lot of these like companies are banking off of like pre-written stories.
But they put $100 million into a film, all-star cast, unnecessary, because anybody who was actually a fan of Borderlands wasn't going there for they were like, hey, Dave Bautista would be a great Brick. I mean, yeah, sure, but at the exact same time, like, we don't really give a flying shit who it is, as long as it's the game live action. And it wasn't. It was like, it's terrible. It didn't crack $8.8 million the first day. And if you don't crack like half your budget, you ain't making it up.
Yeah, like I saw Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters just last week or earlier this week. Last week. And that was actually the first time I'd gone to the movies.
I'm jealous because I want to
forever.
actually go see that. Yeah.
It was awesome, and a lot. There's a very fine line between like fan service and just having like good cameos.
What's wrong with fan service? That's one of the things that I keep hearing about, is because they keep talking about like, oh, well, if we do it this way, it's just going to be fan service. What's wrong with fan service?
Well, because like all right, for example, like, spoiler alert, anybody who hasn't watched Acolyte, but Acolyte, the new Star Wars.
Talk about Acolyte. Go ahead. I'm just joking.
So, fan service, like there were two cameos in that show where it was kind of like in a fan servicey way. Neither character had any lines, and cover your ears if you're afraid of spoilers, but it was.
I don't think anybody. I think Acolyte's been out long enough that if anybody actually gave a shit about it,
but it was Darth Plagueis and Yoda.
Right.
Both times that they showed up in the show were like Plagueis was just kind of like creeping behind a rock or a doorway or something, and that was it. But it's like, why is he there? Like they put it there just as like fan service to get the audience's attention. And then the last one, the very last scene at the very last episode was like the back of Yoda's head, and that was it.
Okay, let me argue. So would you say, in the exact same regard, which movie was it? What was the one where Luke dies?
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, right. So would you say in that scene, Luke dying, Luke appearing? No, which one was it? No. Let me go back. Mandalorian, where they de-aged him.
Yes.
Would you say that was fan service?
That was season. No, that was a Book of Boba Fett. where he was, that was like the last, I think the last episode or second to last episode of Book of Boba Fett, where Grogu's training with Luke, and Luke gives Grogu the decision to.
But before we go too far, Luke shows up. Grogu decides to go with Luke. Right. Then there was even the part in the next season where Luke's teaching him a little bit. Would you say that's fan service?
I would not, because it kind of fits in the story.
But it is fan service. But here's the question: is it good or bad?
I would say it was good. It was good fan service.
Right. I want to see Luke when he was young. I want to remember that.
Yeah.
I want to have those feelings, and you did when you see him come on when he boards the ship. But my point is, fan service being bad is because the whole Acolyte was a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad millennial writing, but like the Acolyte is something else. Like, it was aggressively bad. It was purposefully bad. It was like a person who was a kid who had a friend who was really into Star Wars, who betrayed that person, was like, I'm going to write a Star Wars so I can like rip that kid's life apart. Like, that's literally, like, it was so bad it was purposely bad.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, the Leslie Headland, like, it seems like she's just pushing her own agenda
She can push her own agenda right off a cliff. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's God, the show is terrible. I watched it with my dad, and he was just like, I'm bored. Like, he's just, it doesn't really feel like Star Wars. Like, even when they ignited all their lightsabers and everything, it's like, this still is, it's off.
The writing was shit, and this is something we've talked about. Like, I don't care who was the lead. I don't care who, the baseline was, the writing was garbage. It was like, I got a great idea for a scene, let's write a story around that, and that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe if it does, I'm sure it does in some sort of scenarios. But like, what they did was like, got a great fight, lightsaber fight, and we're gonna write this whole story around that. It's like,
it came off as someone writing a Star Wars story that didn't give a damn about Star Wars.
Right. That's exactly, or purposefully wanted to destroy it. And that's what I mean by, like, they had a friend as a kid who was like you. It was like you and Leslie Headland grew up together, and then you stole her goldfish, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna make Steve cry. And right?
It was bad. I did not enjoy it. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it either, because, I mean, the ratings speak for themselves.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were unsubscribing to Disney Plus as a result of it.
So, in the flip side of that, another Disney property that has literally just, like, gone gangbusters and blew the doors off of everything, Deadpool.
Yeah.
And what Deadpool proved in its existence, and Ryan Reynolds' stalwart unwillingness to buckle to the corporate entities, was that people actually want to watch that. And I'm pretty sure that entire movie is fan service. That entire movie's fan service. Fourth wall breaking, talking to the audience, like, and he literally included, I'm starting to see, it's pissing me off because people are ruining things. I hate it. I hate it when people start putting stuff on Instagram and all over the place, and you're like, I just want to avoid this because I actually want to enjoy this myself. Please stop ruining it for me. But
I will say there were a couple of parts that were spoiled for me as well, like, because of social media, but watching it, I still enjoyed it, and there were still, like, a lot of parts where I was just like, even though I saw it coming, it didn't really taint that, like, feeling of, oh shit, this is awesome.
That kind of a movie, no. That kind of movie is like nonstop. It's just,
it really is.
You see 10 things, that doesn't even compare to the 100 that are behind it.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that keeps pissing me off, that's really pissing me off, is what's actually September release is Space Marine 2, which is a game that's been in the works for like 10, 12 years. And I never played the first one until I got into Warhammer, and then I was like, this game fucking rocks. It is literally, I shouldn't say literally. It's like Gears of War if Melee with a chainsword.
Yes.
Yes. And it's like I'm getting goosebumps. So, there was inklings of what was coming out last year, because it's been a year delayed. And it's supposed to be 3-player co-op, which is awesome because my son's into it, so he wants to play, and me and him teaming up is going to be a blast. And but one of the guys that my morning streamers, like I wake up and I watch a couple of guys that talk news and different things and stuff like that. He has been on a nonstop kick of streaming this fucking game, and I'm like, you're ruining it. You're ruining it for me. I don't care about the other jewelers out there that want to see this, but you're ruining it for me. I want to be able to experience this myself, because he's showing like some of the greatest parts, and like I don't want to ruin it for people, so I'm not going to repeat them. But it's like it's the game is melodramatic and epic, so that's the whole point. So like,
yeah, it's.
That's
the thing with like social media.
There's a reason why the hype train was built off of a 2-minute clip. Like, just saying. Like,
yeah. And I personally never followed too much into the lore of like Space Marines and 40K and all that. I played the board game like one summer and it was fun. And remember me, Jeff, my buddy, yeah. We used to sit in his basement, like paint the figurines and stuff. But I wanted to get into it, but I think because I was I'm already so hooked into all these other fandoms, like I'd like Star Wars, Marvel, Elder Scrolls.
Well, that's the sort of the crazy thing about Warhammer is it has literally been in the background of everybody's consciousness. Like I think we talked about this. I know that I told you this. I don't know if it was on stream or not, but this is hilarious. It's a hilarious story. So
I'm ready to laugh.
So Warhammer was established in 1988 with a small group of friends. It really didn't take off till like 1990. And when it first was established, it was called Rogue Trader. And I always knew it, like, because I've always been a Magic the Gathering fan.
Yes.
I got out of it around when Commander got created. I don't know if you know when that was. It was like 2014-ish. That's when it just started drawing in. I'm not going to get into that, but so I would go to game shops. You go to tournaments, you go to draws, you go to stuff like that, and I would see these armies that are like hand painted and just beautiful. And like, because you own a game shop, and that's one of the jokes is you own a game shop to build a Warhammer army. Like that's the only reason you own a game shop. Every game shop you go to Nirvana down south, you go to any of the ones up here. There is a case that has a Warhammer army in it.
Yeah,
like, it exists. There you don't own a game shop and not have a Warhammer army. So around, was it like 90? When did the first Warcraft come out? 93? I think like 93.
Around then.
So not Warcraft, Blizzard.
Yeah.
Approaches Games Workshop and is like, hey, we got this idea. We want to digitize your game. And the guys at Games Workshop are like, nah, don't really want to be a part of that. Video games are just a fad. Like you saw what happened to arcades. Now, granted, one of the things that we don't know about, we don't remember, we're actually going through a second one right now, which was the video game crash of the 1980s. So right towards the end of the 1980s, if it wasn't for Nintendo, the things that we do today would not exist.
Yeah. I still have to watch that movie.
Yeah, crazy, dude. Crazy. So Games Workshop's like, nah, we don't want to jump in on that beast. So they're like, all right, do you care if we like change the name and like, still release it because the game's built? And they were like, yeah, go ahead. So Blizzard puts out Warcraft. Well, everybody knows what fucking World of Warcraft is, right?
True. And I told myself for years, all throughout high school.
It's literally Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah. I was like, I'm never gonna play Warcraft, and because I've heard so many horror stories about like once you play it, and then one day I caved, I got it, bought a subscription, played it on my laptop, and then I think I started around like 8 p.m. and then the next thing I know, the sun's coming up.
Again, another game that would be absolutely beautiful if Blizzard would stop shitting on it. Like I stopped playing after I finished out. What was up? Not Calamity. It had not Catastrophe. Cataclysm. Thank you. Yes, I played all through the green one, which was the first expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, and then Cataclysm, and then I heard about like a Panda something or other, and that was such garbage. I just never went back to it, and now they're coming out with all these other different versions of like classic and this and that and hardcore, and it's like, please
don't fix what ain't broken.
Just
yes, I think I started at Wrath of Lich King, and then
Wrath really came into itself.
Was Burning Crusade came out after that one?
Burning Crusade was the first one. That was the green one. Burning Crusade was the first one, and then it was Wrath of the Lich King. Then it was Cataclysm. Burning Crusade.
There was one that came out after Wrath of the Lich King, where they changed the map, the maps, like parts of like the
Cataclysm.
I think it was Cataclysm. I think when Cataclysm came out was when I stopped, because me and my guild friends used to meet up at this one place. I think it was called like the Dark Shore or something, and we that was like our meetup point. We would just do like raids for towns and stuff, and like do the dungeons and all that, and get all the loot, and then but once they changed the maps, we were like, wait, we can't meet here anymore. And I was just
That's one of the things. Like it was really cool to see, and then like about a month into it, you're like, all right, can we go back to like the way it was before?
Yeah.
Because there's like all these spaces that I had memorized, and
now
I gotta fucking learn all this shit again, and all these new dungeons.
Yep, and now they got it to where like you have to like start all over again, like all the work that you did.
That and they also have the new setup. Like if you buy it, if you're like a brand new player, they give you like this scroll that literally like kicks you either like 10 points away from the top, 10 levels away from the top, or like all the way. And it's like, so you're literally just doing this for the money, because that's not fun.
Yeah. See, so what I love about like Star Wars: The Old Republic is the combat system is pretty much like the same as like World of Warcraft. Like you can either click on the moves you want to do, or you can like hotkey them, or macro, or like whatever it's called when you like you can if I push this key it does this move, and key binding, that's what I'm thinking of. So you don't have to like point click, and you can actually focus on the battlefield or whatever. But what I love the most about like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, phenomenal games. Like to this day those games still like hold a candle, and they like people still play them like religiously to this day, because the replayability of it was so good, and the writing was so good. And Star Wars: The Old Republic, the story, like they have like these cutscenes that are fully voiced, and like the story's like really good.
That game was groundbreaking when it first released.
Amazing, and like and it fell off, but like lately it's been coming back on, and like the past few days, like me and my friends have been playing it.
You know why it's coming back on? Because it was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
That you can go back and it has replay value.
Yeah.
Where things that are coming out nowadays,
I've replayed so many like storylines because like you can have like, in classic EA fashion, you can like different decisions you make affect the story later. Mm-hmm. So you can be like, a light side Jedi and be or you could be a dark Jedi and just do all this like messed up shit, or you could be like a Sith and be a fully dark side Sith, or you can be a fully light side Sith and be this very like just and noble Sith, and it changes the story so much more, and it makes it that much more interesting. But rather than changing stuff and changing the planets and stuff. They do like little changes here and there, like a battle took place here, and it's like, but it's not like the whole fucking place is underwater now, like how they did with like certain maps in World of Warcraft. Now, but they just keep adding more planets. They keep adding more. They raise the level cap so you can like go further. I just started playing. You can go to Nar Shaddaa. They added a casino there.
Oh yeah, you were just telling me about.
Yeah,
this.
and they have this. I saw this guy on the. I was in the Imperial Fleet, which is where like usually like everybody meets up and they like, all right, we're gonna go do like these flashpoints or these operations and we'll get gear. And I see this guy with these like sunglasses, but they're like lighting up and changing colors and stuff. And I've never seen anything like that in the game. I was like, what the hell are those? So like, I click the guy, inspect his gear, and I was like, high roller shades. What is this? And like I read it. What is this? And then like I looked it up and I was like, oh, you get this from gambling at the casinos. No shit. So I started going there, and it's like, I was reading up, like, some people are like, how do I get these? And they're like, dude, it's a really rare drop. Like, you gotta, it's like, I know some people who got them within like 50 rolls on. So you have like a 3 levels of like slot machines at the casino, and then like one's just like 100,000 credits. Another token is like, one's 10,000, 100,000, and then one token, the Emperor's something slot machine. That's like 7.5 million credits for one token. And if you do like flashpoints, which is essentially like a dungeon in World of Warcraft,
right,
you can get like one of those token drops. I had a couple, and I went and I rolled. Like I read up, like, dude, I did
all
like
on black.
I did, yeah,
all on black,
dude. This I was reading on Reddit, like people were like, dude, I did like 500 rolls on that thing. I spent billions of credits. I didn't get them. Like, and I heard one guy got them after like 20 rolls, dude. 2 rolls.
No shit.
And I was like, holy shit, no fucking way. And I was just like, and now like, and I literally like was sitting on the fleet in this barge mount that I have. And
how new is this casino? Like month, 2 months?
They started adding that in, I think 2 years ago into the game.
Okay, so I was going to say, because if they're still patching, what they did, you just caught that lucky like post patch where they like debuffed it down so it was easy to get. And they're like, oh shit, it's too easy. Too many people got this.
No, I literally I've never seen, like, I still play the game like every week, and I'm on the fleet all the time. I've never seen those shades before. And the best part was I had gotten another roll for it looks like a rebel helmet, like the rebel pilots like in the rebellion, but the visor, it has that same effect where it's like kind of rainbowy and it like changes colors. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So like I got like a pilot thing, and my bounty hunter, I named him Booty Hunter. And it says license to hunt.
So we gotten completely off topic. We're into Star Wars, the Old Republic now.
Oh yeah.
But the point that I was trying to make was that
in classic Stephen John fashion, we digress. We get on one thing and we're like,
somehow we started in 1988 with Warhammer Fantasy and ended up in space. I mean, that's pretty typical. But
that's old hat for us.
What's really crazy, and I think I've said this to you before, but one of the things that I find is really crazy is like once you start getting into the lore of Warhammer. I mean, dude, there's this thing called the Black Library.
Okay.
It exists in lore and in reality. Okay, it is all of the books that exist in the Warhammer universe, and the Emperor locked them underneath of the throne room, so that only a little bit gets out. Well, when you go and buy books off of Games Workshop
eBay.
website, it's no Games Workshop's website. It's
okay.
The Black Library. It exists.
That's cool.
So, but once you start getting into it, and dude, there's literally fucking thousands of books that have been written since 1988 till now. So, trying to find a vein of lore, it's deep. It's so deep. It goes all over the place. But what's crazy is once you know a little bit of it, because I listen to like audiobooks while I'm painting.
I love audiobooks.
And you start finding, you're like, you hear something and you're like, that sounds familiar. Like this story sounds familiar. it makes me think of like a movie, and then you go and you look up the book, and the book came out in like 2004, and then the movie was like 2010, and you're like,
yeah.
It's crazy, like how Warhammer has literally like interwoven itself into so much stuff, just by existing. And I would say that Warhammer 40,000, and maybe Warhammer Fantasy, which doesn't exist anymore, it's actually Age of Sigmar, was to tabletop gaming and video games what Tolkien was to fantasy. Like they were,
yeah, I could see that.
They were the groundbreakers, the granddaddies.
Aside from like Dungeons and Dragons,
and because like if you didn't have Tolkien, you didn't have the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
and if you didn't have the Elder Scrolls, you didn't have the Old Republic.
And that was literally the only reason I watched Game of Thrones, because you were like, dude, you gotta watch. Because we were just talking about this the other day, like how I'm not one to get on hype trains. I did the same thing with Breaking Bad. Like everybody's like, this show's so good, you gotta watch it. And I'm like I still haven't seen The Sopranos. It's on my watch list. I want to watch it one day, but like just because I heard it's a good show. But I never watched Game of Thrones until you were like, dude, it's like Elder Scrolls like live action. It's fucking cool. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll watch it, and then I fell in love with it.
Going into our new project, I think that we should do that. We should do breakdowns of, and just so people know, like you watch The Sopranos, I'll finish The Sopranos because I like never watched season 6. I watch all the way up to 5, and then I get bored of it, and then I never watch season 6. And even when it first came out, I got bored with season 6, and I watched the episode when Tony dies. I mean, the last episode, and then and I was just like, you don't even know.
I don't even know.
Yeah, so that's a point of debate. That is a point of debate whether Tony dies or not. But you have to watch it.
Fade to black.
Fade to black. Actually, it wasn't fade. It was just.
I was just cut. Yeah. I fucking love Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, absolutely.
That game is just.
Stock beam, absolutely. If Tolkien didn't create the Lord of the Rings, I agree with that statement 110%. Once you start, like, once you know, and if you dig into the Silmarillion and you start going in that direction, and then you get into like stuff like Brian Froud. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Brian Froud. Everybody needs to go check out Brian Froud. He is one of the greatest artists of our time. But there's so much that Tolkien, so many things, art, music. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, you like Led Zeppelin?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that like there's 5 Led Zeppelin songs that are based on Lord of the Rings?
No.
and they're my absolute favorite. I'm too far down the rabbit hole of Tolkien lore. I mean, he really was the prototype. He was the proto engineer of everything that we consider fantasy in this current age, and people have no idea. People think like, oh, Lord of the Rings is just that movie that they made that's really long. Like, nah, bro. Like, no.
Yeah,
but
that's
like Magic the Gathering, all based off of Tolkien originally.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't think we have anybody within the entertainment industry right now who are like movers and shakers and creators such as Tolkien, George Lucas.
Everybody's trying to hit that home run.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to hit that $100 billion home run. So they take what little ideas they may have, they pass over them, and they go for basically regurgitated things like, hey, this worked.
Yeah. It's that, and that's why I think people like Tolkien and Lucas were so successful, is because they, did stuff that they wanted to do, things that they were passionate about, and it wasn't like, like they did, like Lucas didn't even think Star Wars was going to be that big of a hit. He had that you heard about that bet he had with Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, and now Spielberg Lucas had to write him a check every year.
Mm-hmm.
For but it's that's the thing. Like, like George Lucas pioneered special effects and digital audio, and look what ILM has done. Industrial Light and Magic.
They pioneered basically all the special effects.
Yeah.
That exists. Every time I'm watching something and they start talking about like, oh, and yeah, ILM had something, and it's like, or LucasArts pops up, or something that he was either founded or had a piece of pops up, and they're like,
Terminator 2. That was one of the big ones.
I just watched
Abyss.
I watched a mini bio on that whole situation with James Cameron, and like why they came out in such a staggered effect, and like why some had Arnie and some didn't. It was pretty interesting, actually.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah,
'cause I love the Terminator movies.
I'd be willing to say the Terminator is the reason why I fell in love with cinema.
I could, yeah. I think the one of the first movies I think I watched, like that I really watched on VHS, aside from Star Wars, was the original Terminator. But like anything, like especially like James Cameron, John Carpenter. John Carpenter's another big one for me. Like he just doesn't miss. Like I just watched They Live the other day again, which is like, if you haven't seen They Live, John Carpenter's They Live, watch that.
I don't think. Oh, I mean, you never know. There's some people who live under a rock.
Yeah, but yeah, The Thing.
Have you ever heard of Gene Wolfe?
Mm-mm.
Gene Wolfe does a series called The Book of the New Sun. It's a very interesting cyberpunk. They say he's like the proto cyberpunk.
SUN or SON?
SUN.
SUN. Book of the New Sun.
Book of the New Sun, which is the series. Like Lord of the Rings is the series.
Mm-hmm.
The first book's called The Shadow of the Torturer. It's very interesting. It's sort of gothic neo cyberpunk.
I'm in.
Oh, it's amazing. But he uses dead languages. And
sounds like us in high school.
Yeah, kind of. Actually, I read them.
You still have that trench coat collecting dust in the closet?
Of course. You kidding me? I still whip it around like Halloween. When I remember, they say like when you dress up for Halloween, you dress as what you want to be at. Yeah, I whip out the stuff that I used to want to wear.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I'm a fucking weirdo.
And I'm like, if I could afford a good costume, I'd just be out there in like Clone Wars era, like General Kenobi, like the clone armor Jedi robes combo, like that. That to me is like peak Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like Alec Guinness Kenobi was great, Ewan McGregor's Kenobi in the prequel series was great, but like James Arnold Taylor's portrayal of Kenobi in within the Clone Wars.
I just saw a clip with Ewan McGregor where they ask him, the kid who played Jango Fett, actually Boba Fett.
Okay, yeah.
Jango Fett's son.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to open the door to let Obi in to talk to Jango.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know the story that I'm telling?
And he's like, look at me like I just farted.
Yeah, they do like 20 takes, and the poor kid can't get it right. And, it's more suspicious. And Obi goes, just look at me like I farted really bad. And the kid's like,
yeah.
Perfect cut.
Yep. I love that story. I love the behind the scenes stuff like that. Me and my dad were actually just talking about that, and how me and you, like we said earlier, like one of our big things is like you, if you and I went into like a movie trivia thing, like like if they did like a trivia thing at what they have at like the bars and stuff, if it was like all movie trivia, we'd kill it.
Yes and no. Yes, we would. We would kill it in very specific things, but I have never in my life purposefully watched a rom-com.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true.
Now, I have watched some of the most bizarre art flicks. I have gotten into some, and I want to do this. I want to.
I actually saw a trailer recently that I want to bring up to you after the show.
What is it?
I forget the name.
Okay.
But it's
all right, I'll let you think.
But no,
So-
it's I had it saved. I looked it up earlier, but I'll check it a bit.
So one of the greatest, most underrated films that I think of, and it's hilarious because I always love to do this with my friends. We used to go every weekend. We would catch like 1 or 2 movies. We would do like a double feature on a Friday or something like that, and we would watch like all these different movies. And a lot of times, like, you know, we would rent things and stuff like that. But I would pick, and it's crazy because my friends had a very eclectic choices or eclectic taste in movies too. And we watched like The Ninth Gate. We watched all sorts of stuff. Go ahead. What's the trailer?
There was actually 2. The first one was The Substance.
Okay.
It's a movie that is coming out starring Demi Moore.
Okay.
And it's the trailer starts out with like someone saying like, "Did you ever wish you could be the best version of yourself, like when you were younger,
I think I
best
did
shape of
see
your
this.
life?" And like, but it's like it kind of has like a psychological thriller horror type vibe.
Yes.
But
who's the actors that are in it?
the only one that's coming to mind right now is Demi Moore. There's another guy that's in it.
Because I
forget the actor's name.
The guy I just saw him promoing it. I was just watching something. He was promoing it.
Like kind of like brown hair, white dude, middle aged.
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name.
About like this tall.
Yep. But that one
face.
and Slingshot.
Slingshot.
That's a movie that I saw a trailer for that looks really good. It's about this crew that's going out into. They're going to either Titan or Europa. I think Titan, and they need to use Jupiter's gravity to slingshot around it to get to it. And this guy is like freaking out.
Yes.
And like he thinks like the ship's collapsing in on him, and like they're trying to tell him you're just nothing's happening, and then he's like, you're just saying that, like, or something like that. But the trailer looks good.
So, I am interested in both of those films.
Yeah.
We definitely need to check them out.
We might do a review.
But to finish, well, no, we will. At this point, dude, if we're watching something, we definitely have to talk about it.
No, that's gonna be I'm excited to do those.
What the hell do I keep doing with others? I keep stashing it over here so it doesn't fall. Have you ever seen In Bruges?
No.
Colin Farrell and I forget the
I love Colin Farrell.
His partner in the movie, another phenomenal actor, which like.
You know what movie I actually loved that because I love Colin Farrell as an actor, and it's a movie that I feel like didn't get enough recognition because it's a movie that does a lot without doing much, and I mean that in the sense where like the sets, the scenes, like you're almost the entire movie is in like one square block, Phone Booth.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely one of the movies that put Colin on the map.
Yeah.
It was Phone Booth, SWAT, and like another one I can't remember off the top of my head. It was like a car movie, if I remember roughly. I know SWAT was really big.
SWAT was a big one, but yeah, Phone Booth was just a really good movie, and it was
Brendan Gleeson. That was his partner. You don't know Brendan Gleeson?
Uh-huh.
Mad Eye Moody from fucking Harry Potter. Come on, man. So everybody knows, Brandon Gleeson, the handsome, the phenomenal Scottish, I believe, Brandon Gleeson. If you haven't seen In Bruges, I recommend it above and beyond. I think what's his name's even in it. But I got my friends to watch it, and it was one of those movies where like we walked away from it, and the first thing, like we used to do like recaps, which is sort of where this is coming from. And they would be like, I like this part, I like that part, this, that, da, da, da. We would talk about, we did that for every movie that we used to go see. And the first thing out of my friend, whose name is Bear, who's not really known for being an emotional guy, and Tommy Boy, the first thing the both of them say is, I don't feel good.
Bear said that?
This is the first thing Bear said. He's like, I don't feel good. I got to go smoke some weed.
Which, by the way, if nobody's met this guy, if nobody, I mean, obviously nobody knows who we're talking about, but this guy Bear is literally like he because he is a bear. He's just this big dude, big beard, like.
I'm 6'4", he's like 6'5", 6'6",
and he's like I just picture him like he just the way I picture
280
is just like he still eats with his hands, just
that's
like
pretty,
like
that's pretty on point.
Sweet dude, super cool, nothing but love and respect for the guy.
Yeah,
I can't imagine him saying that after seeing a movie.
And actually, it's one of those things like years later. We were doing something. And he's like, you being like, I forget exactly what it was. We might have been drunk, but he brought up the point, and he's like, "Yeah, dude." He's like that movie in Bruges. And I was like, "You got PTSD, don't you?" He's like, "Yeah, that movie fucked me up." And if you've never heard of In Bruges, so long story short, not going to give anything away. It's two hitmen who get sent away by their boss to go on vacation because the last job that they had put Colin Farrell's character into a depression. And it's a mind fuck. Like you go into it and it's such a slow burn, and it's got some fucking hilarious moments in it. And like the comedy is dark. It is the darkest of comedies, dude. But totally worth it. Totally worth it. Like if you're a little sick.
I do love me some dark humor.
I was cracking up while Tommy's like, "This is the guy that laughed." This is the guy that laughed in the scene of Shaun of the Dead when you find out the mother turned into a zombie. He laughed out loud in a fucking theater. It was the best. Oh. Yeah, Tommy Boy's got a dark humor, but yeah, he walked away from In Bruges like, I didn't like that.
Well, now I gotta see it.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I think that we should go. I think that we should do like maybe even a segment of like cinema obscura, and like go down. Like, have you ever seen Pool Hall Junkies?
I've heard of it, never saw it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's
what we got to do is we got to sit down, watch the movie, and then just hop right here and just fucking go.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea.
Like, I think we also gotta whenever you actually finally go to see Deadpool, let me go with you.
We'll do Deadpool.
I wanna look at your face when the things happen.
Have you ever seen Romper Stopper?
No.
You ever seen Man Bites Dog?
No, but you did tell me, but that's on my watch list. Yeah.
Have you ever seen what's the East Street Bullies? Or something? Green Street Hooligans. You ever seen Green Street Hooligans? Mm. That's another movie. These are little like not in like a gross out way, but like the snuffing of innocence. No, that sounds even worse. Okay, so Green Street Bullies is about soccer gangs.
Okay.
And so you know hooligans, soccer hooligans.
Yeah.
And it's about like when people take it too far, essentially.
Okay.
And it leaves you, it walks like sad. It makes you sad. It doesn't make you grossed out. It makes you sad.
Fair enough.
But that's the kind of stuff, you know. Did you ever see Last House on the Left? The original?
Mm-mm. We gotta have a day.
I got a fucking laundry list. I got a laundry list of films. Trust me. What was that? That's the problem is I've gotten to the point now where I used to have a list of like 5 absolute need to watch films. I forgot all of them. I've seen so many movies. I've forgotten all of them.
They're lost in the sauce of the movie plethora that takes up probably 76% of your brain.
I want to do a deep dive into There Will Be Blood. Because my opinion of There Will Be Blood,
I watched it once and it was a while ago, but it was a good movie.
My opinion of There Will Be Blood, that's a as my dad calls him, a remote dropper. When you're like flicking through the channels and you're like, oh, yep, done. I'm gonna watch this. that movie for me, I saw it. I saw it alone. First time I saw it in theaters. I had just gotten into a fight with my current girlfriend, which is not my current girlfriend. My girlfriend of the time,
yeah.
Not my current girlfriend, wife. And we were both supposed to go watch it. She was a film buff, and she just picked a fight for no fucking reason. So I left, and I went and I watched it by myself. And about like halfway through, I was like, I love this movie. I was like, this is so good. And because I was like, when I got there, I was in such a terrible mood. Like, just fuck this, fuck that. And like halfway through, I'm like leaning on the chairs, like, wow, this movie's nuts. And, but my personal opinion of the character, because, you know, I've seen like 5 or 6 deep dives of like how Daniel Plainview is evil. And I disagree wholeheartedly. I drink your milkshake. Everybody recognizes the loud parts, but nobody recognizes the quiet parts. I have a competition in me.
I gotta rewatch it. It's been so long since I've seen
it. And actually taking like a real analytical study of it, I think that people overlooked a lot of things. And you know, there's the opening scene. I'm not giving it away. This movie's like Oscar winning. Everybody's seen it, right?
Yeah.
And if you haven't, too bad. So the beginning scene, he breaks his leg going down the ladder, right? And he shoves himself to the Gold Depot, the pawn shop, to trade his silver. And that is an open point of sort of showing how deterministic he is. Like, he is unrelenting. When he, you know, broken leg, broken back, and he is pushing himself miles down a dirt road just to trade in what his victuals that he found. And everybody hops to the next scene where him and his partner are in the hole, and his partner dies, and he adopts the kid, because the next thing is it's a baby, and he's sitting out there. He's the only, you know, the guy's dead down there. He pulls him out, he buries him, and he's sitting with this little kid. And that's the moment right there that everybody overlooks. When they're like, he's evil. They overlook the fact that a man stops and could go, all right, I could just take you back to town, drop you off, and forget about you, and you never existed in my life. You're not my problem. You're not my son. Instead, he sits down and he starts trying to feed the kid. You don't do that if you're a narcissist. You don't do that if you're evil. Anything stopping you from getting what you want, which is that oil that's down at the bottom of that fucking hole, anything. And then it cuts to the next scene where it's him and the boy's grown up. And we just forget about that, because people don't take into account what it takes to raise a child. And you think that he's just evilly, I'm going to raise this kid so that he can be my evil business partner and I'm going to use him. Nah, that man had a heart. The man had a big heart. He took on a kid that wasn't his, and he fed him, and he clothed him, and he called him his business partner. And that's where I'm going to leave that, because the rest of that's where I'm going to go in that deep dive. The relationship between him and his son is the most important part of that entire movie.
It's such a good movie.
Not the oil, not what Daniel does to fucking Eli, not any of that other stuff, or what Daniel does with it's the things that are the most important to the story happen off screen.
I think that's one of the things that make the movie, like it's one of the aspects of like world building, and when it comes to film, not just film, but like, you know, a good story, whether you're reading a book or a comic or watching a movie or a show, it's the little details. It's the things that are like happening off to the side.
It's the part because people like, unfortunately, they watch movies with their eyes. They don't take the movie in. The score, the sound, the dialogue, the snippet of the story that happened off screen. Because just like that, like you said to me when I brought up the movie, the first thing that you said was, "I drink your milkshake."
Yeah.
Yes, but what else does he say before that?
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Your brother Paul already came to me, and I paid him, and I paid him well.
Yeah. God, I love that voice.
And that's
I love when you channel.
when I channel Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
I should.
But yeah, one of the big things that helps me draw into keep me focused on and what's the word I'm looking for? Invested into like a good movie or show is the score. Like I remember when I was watching Mandalorian season 1, the scoring in that movie, the music was awesome.
Did you hear about Tron Ares?
Are they doing another Tron?
They're doing another Tron. Now, I'm trepidatious because when it comes to Jared Leto, it's hit or miss. He's either really, 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 really good or an overacting blob on the screen.
Yeah.
But I think in the scope and atmosphere of Tron, I think he actually has an opportunity to be good, because another person who is just phenomenal all the time was the character who owned the club in Legacy. I forget his name. It's terrible. Yeah. I watched the one between him and
I haven't
David.
seen Legacy in a long time, since it came out.
Him and David Tennant had a podcast through the coronavirus where they would bicker back and forth. It was hilarious. They're very funny. But he has that. Do you know who I'm talking about with Kane and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So I think if Leto if he's in the right role, he could still be very, very good. But that's not the reason why I brought up Tron Ares. I brought up Tron Ares because who did the soundtrack the last time?
Daft Punk,
and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Daft Punk fan.
Same.
And they're hard to but they retired. Did you know that?
Yeah.
After Random Access Memories.
Did you ever watch their movie?
Which one? Because I've watched several.
The only one that I knew of was the one where they're in a town. They're in a town and everybody has like their helmets and everybody's robots and they put on these like fake.
I believe that's a human after all.
That yeah, and it's and then they eventually like walk into the desert and everything. Like that's really, really good movie. And what I love about that is that there is no dialogue,
none, other than the lyrics,
and it's all just like that's one of the things I loved about Pedro Pascal portraying Din Djarin in Mandalorian, because like you're when you're acting
We're getting off.
Sorry.
Okay, so I have seen the movie that they did, the snippets of movies that they did for Random Access Memories, and I also watched the movie that they did for Discovery. Did you ever watch the one for Discovery?
The animated one?
Yeah, Interstellar 555.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it.
I know.
It's even better on mushrooms. It's phenomenal.
Didn't think we were going to cross that bridge, but here we are.
I think that we should have the sober one and the so
got any chocolate?
So Tron Ares is being scored by 9 Inch Nails.
Oh my god!
Right, I got fucking chills just saying it.
Beam me up, Scotty.
This is going to be a whole different movie.
Ooh. Dude, Trent Reznor's going to fucking bring it home.
Oh, my God.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm geeked. I'm fucking geeked.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they did an announcement. I wish I had the video. I'd pull it up and fucking let you guys watch it because, dude, oh my god, it says like, it does like the laser lights, and it says Tron Ares, and then all of a sudden the lights actually like beam in, and they do NIN. Yeah, dude, I was like, oh shit, because it's not Trent and Atticus Ross like he did for the other movies. It is being scored by Nine Inch Nails.
Fucking rad,
dude. Industrial techno to this new movie. There's gonna be people that are like, I'm gonna love this.
I will say Nine Inch Nails is an acquired taste. I know people who listen to that like genre or like that subgenre of, but then when it comes to Nine Inch Nails, they're like, I'm not really into it. Like
I'm not into the fucking genre bending of, you know, metal, industrial techno. A guy who builds his own synthesizers and bangs on them with fucking guitars. Nah, I'm not into that. I love Trent.
I was a fucking genius.
Love Trent. Love Atticus. Love all those guys. Love everybody who ever fucking been in that band. That band's got me through some fucking dark times. I love that band.
I think I bought like back. This is back when people still bought albums. Like, you know, you'd go to the, you know, Best Buy or FYE or fucking Hot Topic, and you know, you'd get your CDs from there. But yeah, I bought, I think it was their second album I think I bought, but this is also like, you know, we grew up in the age of like when Napster first came out.
Yeah.
And it was and we were just like ripping everything off the internet.
Unlimited music, unlimited malware.
And like it just playing everything through fucking like Winamp Visualizer. I think when I was here last week, we were talking about Winamp.
Have you ever noticed you never hear about millennials getting hacked? You never hear about, like, you know, you hear these hacks of like the scam artists get all the old people and the young people.
Yeah.
You never hear about it because we owned LimeWire. Because we know when that thing says Linkin Park, you're like, no, that ain't fucking Linkin Park.exe.
Yeah. You can trust me. I'm a dolphin.
Do you mind if we do like a quick intermission? We've been on for an hour and I gotta shake a leg.
Yeah, do that. I mean, if you want to, I mean, I'll just sit here and
you want to just keep it rolling?
I'll keep it rolling.
Right, I'll be right back.
If anybody's still here and watching, feel free to ask anything and chime in. But yeah, I'm really excited for this new Tron movie. I know they recently did the D23 convention where they pretty much talk about the new things that like Disney's putting out, and Tron, you know, Tron was distributed by Disney. But yeah, that's really awesome. I'm excited for that. I'm just reading over chat real quick. Very 1988 vice presidential debate and delivery. I guess he was talking about our, like, the way we talk. But yeah, we got a couple subscribes, couple follows. Neato Cheeto. Anybody else still here? Lando, Stock, Raven, James. That's better. Now we don't have wires to trip over. No.
So yeah, we're about an hour 20 in, and I would say that I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty comfortable.
I'm feeling, dude. I'm just pleased to be here.
I'm caffeinated.
I got my 24-ounce Wawa coffee.
Well, no, because one of the things that and I'm not like the one show that we did in the showboat.
Yes.
That damn couch was like sitting on a coffee table.
Yeah.
So, that's usually like I never realized how fatigued you actually get
Just sitting.
And it's because like you're sitting consistently for an hour and a half talking.
Yep.
And you got to stay in frame, and you got to be aware of all this stuff, but you also got to be frozen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it used to wear on me, especially sitting. I got to say, like sitting in computer chairs, definitely not the way.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I've my plan essentially one day is like if this eventually takes off, I want to get a space where like and a comfortable space where we can do this. But I was thinking something along the lines of still having like a table.
Yeah.
Where we can put our coffee down or
like
something.
This situation would be nicer if there was something here.
Yeah. But also have something where like this would be great if we could just like kick our feet up and we could.
I would knock over the cameras, but
yeah
we could.
But we need like a we need to get like a rig or something up top where the cameras are just like up there. We could just walk around and like kick our feet up and do whatever. We need millions of dollars. We need $100 million.
Millions.
We need $100 million budget for this podcast, like they do for the movies. We need $100 million budget,
so nobody can watch it.
all 7 of you right now. I think
I'm not even talking about us. I'm just talking about the movie. No, I want people to watch us.
Yeah. I think
that went left.
Yeah, I was like talking to Chad for a minute. I'm like, is anybody still here? But yeah, I think one of the best things we could do is just keep doing what we're doing with this. But like you said earlier, like bring the movie and video game reviews into the fray of the content itself. I'm really excited to do that. And
okay, so let's take a step in that direction. Is there anything on your 2 playlists? Is there anything you're geeked about? Like I said, I'm geeked about Space Marine 2. I can't wait to play that.
Right, like movie wise, video game wise, or
pick something. What's something you're interested in?
Something those 2 trailers I saw looked really interesting. The Substance and Slingshot. There's one movie that actually it's on my watch list on Netflix. I think that Netflix. Adam Sandler with like the space spider. I wanted to see that because it looked. Adam Sandler was great in like the 90s and early 2000s.
Have you ever seen the movie Mother?
I don't think I have.
No, I don't know because I didn't watch this movie. I didn't watch the one with Adam Sandler. The problem is with me is that I can't take Adam Sandler seriously.
I can't either. Like there was after like Mr. Deeds, I'd never really bothered to watch that movie because it, from what I gathered from the trailer from it, I was just like, I don't think this is gonna be a movie that I'm interested in.
My dad raves about it. He says it's hilarious. I've never watched it.
Yeah, like I like Little Nicky was like funny.
It's probably the last one that I purposely chose to watch. I never saw Grown Ups.
Yeah, Grown Ups I never watched.
Or the sequels.
But I think that happens with a lot of like look at with Adam Sandler and like even Eddie Murphy, like once these like like in their younger years when they were doing like film and comedy and stand up or whatever, like it was a lot of like not safe for work, but like a lot of like dirty humor and this and that. And then once they have kids, they start doing like kid friendly movies so that their kids can watch it and everything like that. I don't know.
I just watched Axel F, and I have to say that was not child
appropriate. But I mean, when you watch like Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, which to me I think were the best ones, and then you watch 3, and then you see like, and then you watch like Norbit.
Trash. Terrible. Yeah, no, I could not watch Norbit. I had friends of mine who loved it. But like really, what happened was the Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
That I think that's the one that started pushing him in that direction, and then Norbit was sort of the culmination of just a lot of really poor choices.
Because like you look at Coming to America, and he plays multiple.
Yeah.
Like him and Arsenio Hall played like multiple characters throughout that film, and it was done so well. Like you could be a male actor, and then you can put on like, a dress and prosthetic tits and a wig and makeup and like act like a woman. And it could be funny, like Arsenio Hall and like
Why
yeah, it's
women.
But then women aren't funny.
Women aren't funny. Why would you do that?
I can't. But God, what was that one movie where I think it was like Sneeko. I think the guy's name is, who's like I think he's a YouTuber or streamer or something that I'd never followed. But like the few clips I have seen of him, it's like. They're very, like he's one of those like alpha male trying to be like.
I don't even want it.
He sucks, but it's women are funny. Women can be funny, for the record. But yeah, like Eddie Murphy when he and
as long as you're not Amy Schumer.
So, but yeah, Eddie Murphy I didn't realize until like a decade later that like Eddie Murphy was the old Jewish guy in the barber shop.
Oh yeah.
Like I knew he played like the barber and like other characters in the movie Sexual Chocolate. Like the movie's a fucking.
Do you ever see Life?
I don't think so.
It's cool, neither did I. But Eddie Murphy, dude, I mean,
yeah, but then like Norbit was just
cast.
like it was just. Oh, it was so bad. I think it's like when you do like, the fats. Well, I can't say the fat suits because like fucking like, Michael Myers playing the fat bastard in Austin Powers, like Austin Powers, like it's from like that era of like
that only works because
like,
he was the absolute crassest person in the room.
Yeah.
And that's and if you ever notice, have you ever noticed that whenever they do that, where they go that route, where they put on the fat suits, they are the most crass person they could possibly be. Norbit, the Nutty Professor. I was just thinking of another one that did that. Fucking Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler did it with Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
An absolute waste of mental space. I would never watch that movie.
Yeah. Me neither.
Like, there's so many actors that did go down that route of like, who. Sometimes I wonder like what people are on when they're in these pitch rooms and they're like, I got a great idea for a movie. It's me playing a girl in a fat suit. Like, it's not funny. I'm sure somebody's out there like, I love that movie.
And that's gonna be another thing we're gonna have to deal with. Like, we're gonna be shitting on a lot of movies.
No, I don't really care about that. My opinion is my opinion. Just like I said, like
everything's subjective.
I am literally going against like with my There Will Be Blood analysis is so against the grain. I don't care.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I have a lot of opinions that are probably not popular opinions, but I feel like not enough people are saying like, hey, this sucks.
Fight Club. You ever watch Fight Club?
Never.
You've never watched Fight Club?
No, I've never seen that movie. What's it about?
It's you don't talk about it. Did you know that when they when they re-released
time in my life.
When they re-released the Blu-ray, I had the DVD special edition, but when they re-released the Blu-ray, when you would put it in the thing and the menu would pop up, it was a different movie. It was like it was one of the other popular ones with like Renee Zellweger. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the movie. I just literally saw the clip and I was like, huh?
Oh,
I never bought a Blu-ray.
Side note: Ryan Reynolds trying to do Deadpool 3 with Wolverine. He did like 20 different pitches before they finally said yes, and like one of the first ones was like Deadpool was like
Alpha Cop.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but one of the pitches was they were gonna. It was Deadpool trying to steal the golden chair from The Voice or something. Like, it's just some random outlandish shit.
But that is fan service.
Yeah.
And that is literally like a part of the comic books of doing that is Deadpool's character. Legitimately,
Yeah.
Deadpool's character is interacting in real world, like causing chaos.
I think Deadpool is. He's a character that, like, you know, yeah, he has like Wolverine's healing factor, and the idea of, like, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine getting into a healing factor fight is just like, we're just gonna endlessly like just keep stabbing and beating the shit out of each other until one of us just is too exhausted. But like it's his character, I think, is probably one of the best because, like, you know, you have these OP characters like, you know, Iron Man and Thor and Captain America, and, you know, these people who have like super strength and super this, that, and the other. But then you have like people who are like Deadpool, or just like and that's why I love, like, what was it, Wolverine Origins? I think when Ryan Reynolds first played Wade Wilson.
Oh, when he played like the terrible with no mouth.
Yeah. But like before that, and like, but I love how, like, in I think it was the second one where he's like doing that same thing where he's blocking every bullet, and then he stops, and he's still full of holes. Like, it's little things like that. It's just like, yep, that's that.
Well, that's
character.
like
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones that people are starting to pick up on is the reference that he makes with Blade.
Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't like me, does he? And I got him to do it, and like, and that's because all the way back when Blade 3,
Trinity.
when he was like, he doesn't like you. And
Yeah.
like, really? I thought, and so that's,
But
that's also Ryan Reynolds connecting all of those characters together as himself,
mm-hmm.
which is also Deadpool.
Yeah, and he was really made for that role. And,
100%.
And one thing I will say that I'm thoroughly disappointed in each of the Deadpool movies, and if I'm incorrect on this, please let me know. There is not one goddamn mention of a chimichanga.
I think you're wrong. I'd have to go back and watch. I have to watch the first two, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
I don't remember.
I guarantee there's at least one reference in both movies.
I don't recall it.
I'm pretty sure.
Because that was like a
I
big
distinctly remember
thing with him in the comics.
It's always the chimichangas is always his thing. I distinctly remember a scene where it opens up and they're literally pulling If you don't know what a chimichanga is, you're gonna miss it. But they're pulling chimichangas out of the deep fryer because of deep fried burritos.
Yeah.
So they're pulling them out, and then it literally like scans up into like what they're doing.
Okay, so there's a visual.
Reference to it.
Because I never hear him I never hear anybody mention them.
I'd have to go back and watch both of them, but I'm pretty sure there is. Or
yeah.
At least, let me rephrase. There is at least that form of a reference to it.
Okay.
So, what's amazing is when you allow Ryan Reynolds to just kind of be himself, he thrives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Movies like Waiting. There's a $10 million movie that literally was gangbusters.
Yeah.
And anybody, and spoke to a niche audience on top of it, like the servers industry. I mean, they're one of the largest industries, but me and my wife make the references to that movie to this day because it is such a perfect caricature, but it's such a perfect representation of like what it is like to be a server.
Yeah. I've waited tables, and I was just like, we had that guy.
What was the movie that put Ryan Reynolds on the map?
I would probably say Van Wilder.
Correct. Do you know the history of National Lampoon?
I know that they've been making movies for about 50 years, and
So originally they were a competitor of Mad Magazine.
I did not know that.
Yes, they had a magazine. They were National Lampoon's magazine. They had to come up through the 80s, obviously Chevy Chase and those kind of guys. They did a lot of those movies.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
All the Vacation series, that's all National Lampoon's. Van Wilder was the last good movie that they ever did. There are tons of movies that they did, but Van Wilder is literally they thought it was going to be a resurgence, and then Ryan walked away from it.
I think, yeah, because I know they did like sequels to like Van Wilder, and I remember it being like a different actor. And I was actually just talking to my dad about this. So like my dad can't stand Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
Yeah. And
he's just a younger Chevy Chase.
Pretty much.
If you go back and you watch like Chevy Chase's early films, what was it like? Fletch. What's the one with the house? You know the one I'm talking about, where they buy the house, and it's
on the tip of my tongue.
He's like a reporter, and they're like trying to remodel the place, and you know the one I'm talking about.
Yep.
If you watch all those older movies in the early days, and it's amazing, and it's obvious, because they both got started in sort of the same area. I mean, Chevy ran around with the older heads, the Belushi and all those.
Yeah, because he started in SNL, and then he got into film later.
Right.
But like Ryan Reynolds, he like I could see why like my dad isn't really a fan of him, because like my old man's not exactly a movie buff. Like he like growing up, we would just rewatch like all the James Bond movies like over and over, or like Star Trek, Star Wars.
No, he's a niche guy. He gets into his things.
But like the few movies and like he was never really one to like go out to the movies, but like, you know, we'd watch movies at home on TV and everything, and like whatever was on we'd watch. But I think he didn't like Van Wilder because like or Ryan Reynolds, because earlier in his career he kind of did get like typecasted as like the young kind of like douchey guy.
They tried to like heartthrob him, and he's not a heart like. He's
a handsome dude.
He's a handsome guy. I'll give him that. But he's not a heartthrob. Like,
no.
And like the biggest blunder was Green Lantern, and that's even a movie that he takes pot shots at.
Yeah.
Because they like you said, they typecast him into a situation like even Blade Trinity, like. They wanted him to be like the pretty funny guy, and no, you just got to let him be the funny guy.
Yeah,
just let him do his thing.
Yeah, but I fucking love Ryan Reynolds, and I think he's a good actor. And even like in Green Lantern, there's parts where he's funny, like like ring, finger, and he puts the Green Lantern ring on, little things like that. They add humor to it. But then there's like the first part he says. Green Lantern's oath, there's like parts like that where he can portray like I don't know if probably not a really well known movie, but there's one movie again like how I was talking about Phone Booth, where it's like there's very minimal set, like it's like the entire, I think it's just called Buried, where the entire film is just him in a box.
Yeah, the
entire film. And
if you would have put any other actor in that situation, I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah. Exactly. But he's not just like, the good-looking dude who can be funny. He has range.
The reason why Buried is so good is because Ryan Reynolds is naturally high anxiety. He's openly said that. Like, he has, like, why everybody loves him is because that's his defense mechanism to deal with personal anxiety, which I can
didn't know that.
Thoroughly relate to, because that's how I deal with it. I'm constantly making jokes. That's why, granted, I'm not nervous around you, but like in you at the job, I hate to bring it up, but the reality is the reason why, like, I used to say some of the fucking most off the wall, outlandish shit to random strangers. Yes or no?
all of my yes.
Yes. But that's because, like, generally, it's not that I don't like people. I don't like being in situations where I'm in the spotlight. Here I am. But yeah, like, that's how you deflect. You deflect that.
Yeah.
Because if you're laughing, you ain't thinking about me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why, like, so put him in a box and just let him, like, pop that cap and go. That's why he was so good. Because he wasn't acting. He was just being.
Yeah.
And that's...
But I can only imagine being in that setting where, like, you know, you're on set and you're just in this box where, like, you know, the one side is cut out, and I'm sure they probably had like different boxes where, like, it was fully enclosed and one for certain shots, and then like other shots it had like the one panel taken out for, you know, to get the shot in. But just doing a whole movie, and I'm sure it took, you know, months to shoot, as most movies are.
Just constantly being put in that fucking position.
Yeah. And then that's one, like, after I saw that movie, like, I gained so much more love and respect for the man. But yeah, he was made for Deadpool. He is Deadpool, and everything he did, he literally is Marvel Jesus.
I will refrain from calling him that. I don't like that, but
I'm just quoting him on that one.
Yeah, and I know, and I understand where it's coming from, and it's because he is the one that's going to resurrect Disney if they just wake up and stop being woke.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, because I watch entertainment news daily.
I do not.
It is disgusting. I should stop doing it, but I can't help myself. They just fired, like, all of the Marvel staff. They just got rid of all the directors, and they're coming for LucasArts. Kathleen Kennedy's like a cat in a cage. She's trying to run.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy's got to go.
Yeah, they're hands down. She's trying to push to 2027.
They have to keep. I think they got to keep Feige. They got to keep Filoni, and they got to keep Favreau. They got to keep the 3 Fs.
No, they got to keep Favreau. The rest can go.
You think?
Yes. Hands down.
I mean, Filoni is kind of...
Filoni's okay.
What he's done for Star Wars is good. I will you know what? I will say there are some points where he does get... I think he does get maybe too much credit.
Yes.
But, I mean, he's... I think because he worked so closely with George, that's why...
Then he needs to grab the wheel and start steering it back.
Yeah. But I love, to me, and speaking of people who don't get enough credit, Sam Witwer.
You give him plenty.
I do, because the guy's a fucking, like,
yeah, I know.
Like, you know, the parts when they, you know, they're filming parts and he just goes, we got to redo that. That actually contradicts another part in Star Wars, and they're like, shit, he's right.
Him and Henry Cavill. He is to Star Wars as Henry Cavill is to Warhammer 40K and The Witcher and anything that he ever gets his hands on, because he believes in staying true to the source material. God bless them both.
Yeah. Like Sam Witwer was it was his idea when he was doing the voice for Maul in when they first brought that character back into the Clone Wars, was reciting the Sith code. And I don't think any of the writers who were writing the Clone Wars knew about, like, the Sith code, because that's a very, like, old Republic era when the Sith Empire was prominent and had a foothold in the galaxy. And, like, and then of course after, like, the Rule of Two, you know, the Sith were, like, dying out and, like, kind of eating themselves.
The power of many. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Tell Manny to get back on the weed whacker.
They had the fucking, like, part when they just, like, I can't stand it.
Did I interrupt
Let's
you?
burn an entire fucking stone castle down and just like suddenly and like
Star Wars is so magical, stone burns.
I hate it. And you know what I still haven't seen yet, and I'm still debating if I really want to watch it, but I think I have to now because we're doing this.
What?
Rebel Moon Part 2.
It's not worth it. It's literally not worth it.
I haven't even seen the director's cut of Part 1.
I did it to save you the pain. I did it to save you the loss of brain cells. Dude, I have never been so mad at a movie in my life.
The first one, I was borderline. I think we talked about it once on an episode, and I brought it up, and I literally veins were popping out in my neck because I was just so it was so dumb. And I haven't even seen the director's cut yet because I'm like, how?
I'm not.
There's no.
I'm not. That's a purchase that I can't refund. I can't get that fucking part of my life back. I have, and the worst part is I went into this because I like the main actress. I forget her name. She was in, not Henchman. What's the one with the Secret Service to the Queen? Something, Min, Eggsy. I have so many movies in my brain. With the Golden Ring.
Trolls World Tour?
No. Dick. Kingsman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm retarded.
Yeah, she wasn't that.
I'm pre-retarded. She was good.
Yeah.
She was good. They used her skills appropriately. She was actually a tense fight. I was actually interested in seeing what she could do. Right? Mm-hmm. Completely bizarre fucking weapons that she came up with sword legs. But she's a dancer. But they used her skills appropriately.
Yeah.
It made tension in the film. Fucking Rebel Moon was trying to figure out ways to make her dance and shoot a gun. It was terrible. It's terrible.
That reminds me of
they butchered her.
The one time I was actually in theater, I was in Oklahoma, and there was a scene where I forget the main antagonist's name. He's supposed to fall on a knife and stab himself, but he shoots himself, and they're like, "Oh, they replaced it with the gun." Anyway,
the bad guy, the actor who played the bad guy.
In Rebel Moon.
Okay. I forget his name.
I forget his name too, but he's a good actor too.
Love him. Played the Beast. Played in fucking Fury Road. Was probably one of the only saving graces of Fury Road. We're going to drive 1,000 miles this way, and then we're going to turn around. We're going to drive 1,000 miles back because whammon.
Because whammon.
But phenomenal actor. Phenomenal actor. And he has such a distinct look that he can play a bad guy so well. They wasted it. They fucking wasted it.
I could see him as like an Imperial Moff within the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely.
He's
being a daunting character on screen.
Yeah.
And
he the way he carries himself, he's got a really good presence and just. But yeah, the scenes where he's like. It's like he's like vaping some kind of but it's like through the plugs in his body, like that one scene in the first Rebel. Yeah, and I was just like,
that's not even the things that like bothered me. But what bothered me was the plot, the poorly driven plot, and if any of our 6 viewers, which I think one of them is actually me, is watching this and is worried about fucking spoilers, you might want to not watch it. It's terrible. You can't be the good guy and kill the only thing you're supposed to protect.
Yeah.
No matter how much somebody is supposed to manipulate you. Oh, you haven't seen the second part, so that's why you're staring at me like I'm retarded. Gotcha. So her whole for anybody who doesn't know, her whole purpose when she was living with the Imperium, who was adopted by the biggest, most evil guy in the world, in the universe, was she was supposed to protect the princess. And his whole thing was to plot to overthrow the king. And I watched a scene breakdown that somebody clearly did, but on principle and moral alone, if you are the good guy, if you were supposed to be the good guy and the audience is supposed to love you, the one thing you're supposed to do is have that moment where you reject the bad guy, where no matter how much he pushes you, you stand for your morals and you fight him off. And what does she do in this fucking movie? What does she do? The girl that she's supposed to love, the one that she felt like she raised, the one that she's her eternal protector, shoots her in the head. But that's okay, because we're going to bring her back, because we brought the other guy back. We're going to bring the princess back too. And that's what's going to be in the third one that finally got fucking canceled, because goddamn, that fucking movie sucks. And from that moment, about midway through the second act, I was de-invested completely. I was like, you are scum. I don't care what your cause is. There is nothing that you can do that's going to make you fucking There's nothing that's going to bring you, like, vindicate you. That's about There's nothing that's going to vindicate you from that point, because you shot a child.
Yeah.
You shot a child. Your whole thing, the whole thing of your whole life was to protect this child. You shot her. You suck. You suck. I hope you fucking die.
See, I like the idea of what Zack Snyder was trying to do.
I don't. It was a half-cocked idea, just as bad as The Acolyte. Because it was
in
poor writing.
In the sense of like, because originally he wanted to do a Star Wars movie, but they said no.
I'm glad he didn't.
So he was like, yeah, but from what I understand, from what I read initially when I first heard that Rebel Moon was going to be coming out, and I was originally excited for it, was he wanted to do like Star Wars, but like have it like, in classic Zack Snyder fashion, be like this dark, gritty story.
Yeah, well,
where
it's not dark, it's not gritty,
but like, pretty much like, Batman but Star Wars. Okay, I could get behind that. But that, see, this is the thing, like what I think what Disney's realizing now is, like, with the release of the Deadpool movies, with the release of Logan, they can have these movies that have, some blood and gore and cursing and
I sure as hell that's
and
the
stuff
thing.
like that. But we I think what we need is Star Wars has to have a movie where it is kind of like that. We have some of that, because like in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan chops off that the arm, and there was blood there. Yeah. But now, like, when that happens, like, oh, like the blade cauterizes the wound and stuff like that, and I'm like, but like, okay, but what about that? And it's, but we need. Like, I feel like we need something like with David Benioff and Dan Weiss, when they were offered to do a Star Wars trilogy that was based in the Old Republic. Disney approached them. That's why Season 8 sucked, is because David Benioff and Dan Weiss got contacted from Disney Studios and said, we want you to do pretty much like a Game of Thrones, like, but Star Wars, like pretty much just same concept, just like have like just war and during the Old Republic, it was, well, you had the hyperspace war, you had the war for the Eternal Empire, like you had all, like there were all these like huge conflicts that were happening in the galaxy at that time, and they were like, we want to have an Old Republic era Star Wars trilogy that has, that war, the blood, the savagery of war. And David Benioff and Dan Weiss were like, we got the HBO money, but now we want that Disney money. So they fucking rushed it. And even HBO was like, if you guys need more time, like, you guys said you're going to do like, 2-hour episodes and but this is like, and they're just like, if you need more time, need more money, like, no, we're done, we're good with this, and they release it.
Well, it's actually interesting because I'm going to show.
They shot themselves in the foot.
Yes. But I will also. I just watched a thing with Kit Harington. He was actually talking about this, and he was talking about the last season of Game of Thrones and whether he actually wanted to go back and do the Jon Snow series. And he said no. He says you can actually watch, and he says the reason why there's only 6 episodes is because we were burnt. He says the entire crew was burnt. He's like, we weren't doing like, 1 and 2 hour shoots. He's like, you got to think, you got to take into consideration like the War of the Brothers and the War of the Bastards and all these things that we crushed into like the last 3 seasons, and we shot those consecutive back to back to back to back to back. He's like, you can cut to a scene, and he's like, in any of the last season 8, he's like, I'm exhausted. He's like, I'm exhausted, and it does. They in the interview it cuts to a scene, and he's just wiped. He's pale. He's washed out. He's got the circles around his eyes, and you can see that they have makeup on him to try and hide it, but he was wiped. And it's like he said, I love Game of Thrones. I met my wife there. I met most of my friends there. I love everybody who had anything to do with it. He's like, but even the producers were burnt. Everybody was burnt. We were just going so hard for so long. He's like, it was 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
So they were like, so do you want to do the season, the Jon Snow show? And he's like, nah. And he's like, even if they came to me, it's like, there's no amount of money they could offer me to go and revisit that character right now. Mm. And I understand completely. So
I get that.
And that's the same thing because he was talking about Weiss and what's the other guy's name?
David Benioff.
And and it actually cut to another clip of them, and they're like, were you guys Russian? And they were like, nah, but we didn't really know where we were going, and we just kind of wanted to do other things. And again, 10 years of their lives devoted to that show. And that whole section of the show wasn't written by Martin. Martin didn't finish that.
6 or 7 season 6 or 6 or 7, I think, was when the whole Song of Ice and Fire books, because I got the audiobooks wow, like before the 8th season, but I got the audio because at the time I was driving a lot, and I would just listen to audiobooks, and mostly Star Wars, but but yeah. Speaking of which, do you know a lot about? Did you ever read any like the Thrawn books, like the original, like Timothy Zahn?
I never got into. No, I read. To give you like book wise, I read the Gene Wolfe series. That was actually probably the most recent books I jumped into, other than Warhammer books, which are the most recent. But prior to that, I read the entire Chuck Palahniuk series back in 2004, and that's about it.
Mm. I gotta, yeah. If you want a good read and get a good idea of like, because Thrawn's coming back, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. I'm so excited.
I can't. I'm not trying to be a dick. I know you love Star Wars, but I have way too much.
I know.
Crammed into here.
Anytime you need me to explain anything about Thrawn, let me know, because I read the original Thrawn trilogy that was released in the early 90s. By Timothy Zahn, and then the 2 books that came out, the duology that came out after that, which was like, 'cause at the end of the 3rd book, Thrawn, spoiler alert, end of the 3rd book, Thrawn gets killed, but then he comes back as the name of the actual book is like Spectre of the Past, and then once Thrawn came back in Rebels, in the show, and they kind of like brought, because like Thrawn only existed in the books, and then when Disney retconned all the literature and the comics and everything, Dave Filoni, like, you know, and he grew up reading the same books that all the other nerds grew up reading, so he's like bringing back Thrawn, because in Rebels, like, Thrawn was at the height of his power in this time, and he was a Grand Admiral, which is unheard of for an alien in that universe, and he just, yeah, But Timothy Zahn wrote another trilogy after that to expand on his ascendancy into the Imperial Navy, and the books are just so good.
So, Snyder. Everybody talks about Zack Snyder. What is Snyder really known for?
Aside from Batman?
Which Batman?
Well, the ones with Christian Bale.
Batfleck? No, that's Nolan. That's Christopher Nolan.
Oh, Christopher Nolan. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, yeah. Justice League. He did Justice League. He did...
That was really a great movie.
No. I can't feel my legs. I don't have any legs.
What else? Let's take a dive real quick. Let's see what is Zack Snyder really known for? I mean, I know the name, but I really know him tied to 300.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
A lot of abs.
Army of the Dead was it was a popcorn flick. It wasn't terrible. What else? What do we got going on in here? Because Justice League wasn't good until Man of Steel was okay, but I really think that Cavill carried that one. Sucker Punch was lame. It's cute. Again, the only reason I went to go watch is because what's her name with the big eyes, Emily Browning.
With the big eyes.
With the big eyes, she's so cute. She's so cute. Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Never even heard of that.
Oh, Watchmen. I feel like I should have known that. Dawn of the Dead.
Did you ever watch the Watchmen show?
No.
The show was good.
No.
I think Looking Glass was probably my favorite character in that show.
Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman, Aquaman. He was behind all these. No wonder they're never getting off the ground. When you have
Suicide Squad was pretty.
When
good.
you have one director handling that many properties, no wonder these things are always like struggling. How is he supposed to divide himself up that much?
Yeah.
The reason the Dark Knight trilogy was phenomenal was because it was Christopher Nolan focusing on one storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I crazy?
Also, can we take a moment to appreciate how Liam Neeson not only trained Batman but also trained Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Fucking legend.
They carry over. They overlap. There's an overlap.
You kidnapped the guy's daughter who trained Batman and Obi-Wan. You're fucked.
Yeah, duh. He's got a very special set of skills.
And it's the Force.
It's the Force. The one thing that I'm really excited about, I don't know if you heard about this. You heard that Halo got canceled, right? The show.
The second season?
No, the second season just passed. But the
that's
third
right. They
season.
just released the second season. I watched the first season and I was
not thrilled.
Disappointed.
Yeah, same. That being a very popular property when I was a child, so many memories.
I still play Halo to this day. I've played every Halo game except for 5. I never played 5 because it was like an Xbox exclusive, and I didn't have an Xbox at the time. But Halo just holds such a near and dear place to my heart as a franchise, and like the story is good. Like I fucking cried at the end of Halo 4. Like it's such a good story, great it's fucking great video game. And when I heard they were doing a live action show, I was like, oh hell, I'm so getting into this. And I watched and I was like, this is not.
That was also before this period of time of shit entertainment,
and it was just like you got an energy sword in your fingernail.
Again, writers who have absolutely no idea about the universe that they're writing about, which is okay. Because thank you for and what sucks is I like the actor who played him. I wish
I
they
know who
went.
you're talking about. I forget his name. He's I think he's a
Pedro?
Chilean actor.
Yeah, I think his name's Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro something. I think he's a Chilean actor.
Or Pablo?
Brazilian. I think it's It might be Pablo. It starts with a P. But yeah, did you ever see the clips of like someone put?
Yeah, Pablo Schreiber.
Someone took clips of the Halo, like the live action series, and replaced the scene with.
Oh, they
put a helmet
put his head on him. Yeah,
and it was like zero dialogue, and it was so much more fitting for Master Chief.
Well, that was the kicker. Is the first thing, like, yeah, okay, is Pablo Schreiber a good looking dude? Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Did he have to? Is Pedro Pascal a good looking dude? Yes. Does Pedro Pascal take off the helmet in any of for the first season of Mandalorian? No.
Was it the second one that he?
I'm pretty sure it's the second one that he actually finally took it off, or it was like the last episode. It was, and if he did, it was brief because he had the beard and all that stuff.
I forget if it was the end. No, it was. I think it was the end of. Maybe it was the end of the second season when. Because there's two times when he takes off the helmet. Once when he is injured and IG takes off his helmet to heal him, and then the other part when he says goodbye to Grogu.
But my point is, he didn't have to take it off for the season for the series.
Yeah,
and he sold it, and everybody knew who he was, and it was good, and it's such a great movie or show.
Which they did just announce the movie.
So. Literally, the first season, Pablo takes off the helmet the first episode.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? And he says, well, you got to see my face. Nah, bro. No, we don't. Like, not trying to take away from you, but you're ruining the character. And that's given. So
there's literally only one time we see the face of Master Chief, and that is at the end of Halo 4. No. At the end of Halo 4, if you beat it on Legendary mode, when they take off his helmet and you just see the eyes.
When
in one?
You have to beat it in Legendary.
I beat one in Legendary. When do they show
Same thing. He takes the helmet off. You got to beat the whole game in Legendary.
Did I beat the whole?
And it's the scene where
I think I beat all.
It's the scene where the Nighthawk's taken off.
Okay.
Out of which Pillar of Autumn? No, Pillar of Autumn crashed. I forget the one that you jump onto that they redid again in Halo 4 3. That same sort of like escape on the Warthog.
Yeah. And
he walks up to the front of the thing and he takes his helmet off, and in the regular version it pans out of the plane and you just see the whatchamacallit in his legs. If you beat the entire game on Legendary, he takes the helmet off and you can see just his eyes.
Huh.
But that's always
maybe
been...
I didn't beat one in Legendary.
Yeah, because me and Tommy did it back in the day. Okay, so totally off base, the reason why I brought it up. So, series sucked. Everybody's disappointed in it. And who picked up the ball? You didn't hear? Oh, you didn't hear? You didn't hear that Christopher Nolan grabbed the property rights of fucking Halo? Oh my God. Chills, bro. Chills. I am excited.
Save us.
I am excited. I started telling people who don't even like fucking Halo. I am so excited.
Oh, man.
I am so excited that I told a buddy of mine who's strictly a Batman fan that Christopher Nolan was taking over Halo. He's like, I've never played Halo in my life, but I'm going to watch that. That's my point.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh. Oh. Now. I want it now.
I want it. Well, no. I got patience. I can wait.
I don't.
I can wait. I can wait because I want all the fervor from the old one to die. I want everybody to forget and fucking mind hole that fucking shit. Forget about it. And
that's the thing. Like from what I saw in the first season, the special effects were decent. They weren't great,
They were good.
They were
They're
good.
believable.
Yeah.
But who the hell was that side character that nobody really gave a shit about?
The blonde chick?
No, the other one. Yeah, exactly. The girl that was like the survivor refugee thing.
Oh yeah, that was
Unnecessary.
yeah.
Listen, everybody's looking for representation. They should have had I'm forgetting his name. Jackson. Lieutenant Colonel Jackson?
Andrew Jackson?
No.
On the $20
Smartass.
bill?
No, the sergeant who was in every Halo game except for the fourth one because he dies in the third one.
Not Jackson. Sergeant.
You know who I'm talking
Get
about.
up, Marines. Corps doesn't pay us by the hour.
Right, yeah.
Wasn't Jackson.
He should have been in it.
Yeah. Oh, God, now it's going to bug the shit out of me.
I'm only forgetting right now because my brain's been rocking and rolling for 2 hours.
Johnson.
I knew it was a J. I knew it.
You know who's a character I actually would like to see? Forge from the Halo Wars.
I never played Halo Wars.
Halo Wars was really good.
I never played Halo Wars.
I thought you would love it because it's like Command and Conquer, but Halo.
So this is the thing. I'm not a Command and Conquer fan.
What?
Yes, and I know that sounds like blasphemy, but I
don't believe you.
No, legitimately,
Dude, Tiberium Wars? Red Alert?
I played Red Alert. I played Red Alert and I didn't like it. Yeah. So here's the thing. I was spoiled. I got into a game that came out right before. I forget which one it was. It was one of the Command and Conquerors. I think it was Red Alert. I think it was right before Red Alert. Called Total Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Which has spiritual successors known as Supreme Commander. I'm actually playing one right now called Beyond All Reason, which is actually a fan-made redo of the original game, which I have to say is spot on. It is so good.
The one thing you showed me the other day was really cool.
Yes. And so when you go from like that kind of RTS where, there's tier systems, not the upgraded like talent tree systems, like you literally have to build the thing that like you have to build the tier 2 factory from the like, and then you try and overlay that level of strategy onto Command and Conquer, World of Warcraft. They don't translate. So, like I was playing when I was a kid, because I always had pretty decent computers, like 10,000 unit battles. Yeah. When you go to send like a fucking a vanguard, and the whole screen like stutters for a second as the planes come up, and then you're launching nukes, and it's
dude, Command and Conquer. I would just, like there would be some like matches where I would just spam build like infantry and just swarm.
Well, see, you saying that, if you play Total Annihilation, you're going to fall in love with it. You're going to. Because there is nothing more beautiful than throwing a legit battalion, a legion of things at the fucking other guy.
That's one thing I will say about Halo Wars was there is like, I think the cap was like 50.
Right. Well,
and then there's like if you make a if you like make a Pelican or something, that takes up like 5.
Right.
And it's like little shit like that. I'm like, come on, like just give me hundreds.
Like that's my same issue with like because Total War makes a bunch of Warhammer versions of RTS games, and like I've tried to play them. It's basically Command and Conquer. What happened was the original Command and Conquers were based in computer, and then they made the jump into, was it N64 that they came out with the Command and Conquer for it? And then that shifted their whole target audience after that. So that basically,
I think I still have my Command and Conquer Nintendo 64 cartridge.
the 60. Well, I mean, and you can only have a capped level of units at that point in time. And I'm like, so when I say like I was dealing with like thousands, that's because my computer was high and I knew. So everything. From the moment that that Total Annihilation was launched,
I just pictured like your computer tower holding a joint.
Basically, it was open source. You could add units. You could build your own units in an editor. You can make your own maps.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, and this is for 1997. So like this stuff, I'm like, I am a computer hacker. I am downloading all that. I am making all these things. I felt like that as a kid. And then like you go to these things that like only have like set specific,
Yeah.
But saying like Total Annihilation's original base unit value was 500 units. That's for both sides, so 250 each. Like,
I think you should play Halo Wars 1 and 2, if not for this, because like Halo, especially Halo Wars 2,
for the story,
goes right into Halo Infinite's campaign.
That was the interest. Yeah, I played StarCraft.
Yeah, StarCraft.
I love StarCraft. But again, I played it for the story. I played it on the easiest mode because, like, it's a different type of economy when you're dealing in thousands and thousands of units, and you're dealing with like you're manufacturing like 4 or 5 different factories at the same time, and you're producing lower units and higher units because you're trying to fill in gaps here and there, and then like StarCraft, you have one, you have a barracks, and it produces those guys.
Yep.
And then you got to build like the research thing that doesn't really do anything, but now you can build things that have more armor. It's like I get where that's like fun.
Like Halo Wars is kind of like that, where you don't really have to build like a research thing. You have to like you have a you make a reactor that gives you energy, and like once you upgrade that, like you have like the main thing is like you have the base, and then you have your supplies that come in, and then you have your reactors for energy, and you can upgrade your supplies pad to like a double supply pad.
That sounds like Total War.
And then you have these turrets which you can upgrade to ones that are like, these are like anti-air, these are anti-infantry, these are anti-vehicle. But like it's just so, because like you like at some points like you can get you have your Marines and you have your Warthogs, but then you have like can get like Spartans that have like just the Spartan laser, and you just like send 5 Spartans out into a base and just like just laser them to hell. But Halo Wars 2 was really, really good. If anything, just get it. I think I got Halo Wars 2 on like on PC for like $2. Just get it for the story.
There is nothing in. And this is what lends itself to why I love this game. There is nothing in the arsenal of Total Annihilation that you're building that doesn't produce or do something. So if you're building a tower, it's not just I mean, if you're building like the absolute lowest tier of base building, which is like a Dragon's Tooth. You know what Dragon's Tooth is, right?
Mm.
Okay, Dragon's Tooth is basically a battery placement to stop tanks from being able to come through. If you're building that, it doesn't do anything other than block tanks. Like it is still a strategic point. There is always some purpose to what you're building.
Appreciate you still being here, Raven, by the way.
And of course you could say like, my biggest problem with that is like, if you spend the resources, you build this thing, you build this research laboratory or a generator or something along those lines, you're never going to click on that again. If you run through all of the upgrades, you're never going to click on that again. It's just going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a target. And most of the time, well, that's the other thing, is also everything's reactive in Total Annihilation. So when you blow up like a fusion reactor, you better not have anything near it.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. See, that's
you're gonna if you download that game, you're gonna enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. It would be better that you download it and we play together.
See, now I really, it's funny because like I hate that my brain does this, but now I'm like, I know there's a Star Wars version that I have of this on my computer that I want to go home and play right now because it's like same era, like late '90s, like very
it was the golden age.
Low poly like RTS. But it was just like, I'm gonna go Imperial side. And I'm gonna make a bunch of like AT-ATs or like AT-STs and
stomp on shit.
Yeah, or like it's. Also, side note, Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
I literally like almost jumped up out of my chair in the theater when.
I hate to say that I had no idea what I was watching when I went into Rogue One.
Nobody did, really, because it was like kind of one of the first real spinoffs. But it was so well done, and how it goes right into like right on the heels of A New Hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was something. It was something new. It was something different. I mean, it was actual like war movie. And one of my favorite things of like all Star Wars was like the space battles, and the space battle over Scarif, phenomenal. And I love that they used like B-roll from A New Hope with the same actors that played Gold Leader and Red Leader in A New Hope, but they just like superimposed them into that movie because that was like they were within the rebellion at that time.
It's all delayed.
Oh yeah. Put my hands up. Yeah, it's delayed. Bah. But the so the one I literally almost jumped up out of my seat when Admiral Raddus says, "Call in a Corvette Hammerhead," and I'm like, "Those are from the Old Republic era," and like, yeah, because like you played Knights of the Old Republic.
A long time ago in a galaxy far away.
But dude, I was like, no fucking way. And they like, and the thing just fucking like runs into a fucking Imperial Star Cruiser and like just like engage sublight engines, just rams it into another one. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I was like, I had like 5 nerdgasms in that moment alone because I'm like, yes, like the fucking like Corellian Corvettes are canon again. And then after that, they brought him back into Rebels as well, which was really cool. But I love the Old Republic. That's just the best era.
So we've talked about all this stuff, and it's now we're pushing like 2.5 hours, which is probably one of the smoothest rolls we've ever had.
Yeah,
I'm not tired. I could literally keep going.
We could, but we should probably call it.
But so for those who stuck around to the end, which is Raven, because I love you, Raven.
I think everyone else is just lurking at this point.
So we're building something. How deep do you want to go into it?
We're building not just the story. We're in the process of. So I approached John, as I do when I have ideas, and there was this one idea that I had rattling in my brain when I couldn't sleep, and I kept thinking, like, I kept just adding more ideas to the idea, like just building on it, and I was like, I gotta write this down before I forget it so I can tell John. And I approached him about it, and he's like, this isn't enough. I like what you're doing, but and I like where this is going, but we got to do more. And I'm like, you're right. So instead of building on the story, which we kind of were, it's an idea that we've been kind of, throwing at each other and spitballing back and forth. As far as we're building a universe, It does not have a name as of yet, but it is going to be. I think we're going to. Do we want to do? Originally, I wanted to do it as like a short film, but because we were talking about doing a short film before, and because we had talked about this on the podcast before about how we wanted to do like I want to make a production company where we do our own movies and our own music and our own podcast and just kind of like, you know, do things that we enjoy and that we're passionate about, but really, you know, go all in on it. And we decided instead of doing a short film, like let's just do a full movie. And eventually, but
and that turned into let's write a screenplay.
Yeah,
which turned into let's write a book.
Yep.
Which turned into fuck it, let's flesh this out.
Yep.
Let's see what this grows into. So we have been setting out plot points and spitballing some ideas. And there should be some things in the future, and we're going to keep people aware of it as we go along, but that's going to be happening in the background. And we're going to keep our cards a little close to our chests so that, you know, so that we don't let anything leak. But I'm excited. I'm
really stoked.
Yeah, and I think this is going to...
Every time we talk about it and we keep, you know, I come over, I bring my book. My book's still in the car. We write down ideas and we keep... We're building the world that the story is going to take place in.
Yes.
Right now, and then we're going to create the stories, I should say, without saying too much. But it's we're building a world where we're going to be we're going to release it as a book first, and then eventually we want to hash it out into something visual, and it could take place as a short film. Or we could just, I mean, we could do other short films, but this I think we need to do.
The landscape is vast, man.
Yeah,
we could take it in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to working on it more and sharing it with everybody. It's definitely not going to be anything happening anytime soon.
Not going to be.
We're probably looking at a release probably in the year probably not like next year, maybe like 2108, somewhere around there.
It took me a second.
I'm glad you caught that.
It took me a second.
You'll get it in time.
You'll figure it out.
But but I think we're gonna call it here, and that was the big announcement. We're gonna be doing more, a lot more in the immediate future, and
so be back here every week. I don't think we've settled on a time slot yet, and there may also be a possibility of midweek shows. We'll see if our schedules allow. You know, being dads is not the easiest thing to, you know, work around. Thank God my kids went down without any trouble. But yeah, so Fridays, it's looking like Fridays are a definite. If we can keep nailing Fridays, hopefully we'll get on a little earlier next week. But our Friday night shows are probably going to be reviews of movies. Mm-hmm. And what I kind of... So this is... matter of fact, here, y'all get to witness this. This is the kind of thing that goes on behind the scenes. So I'm thinking what we should do is like Monday... I'm thinking like a late night, like Monday, maybe even a telecast where we sit down and maybe talk about what we plan to watch. And then Tuesdays we watch. And then Wednesdays... we midweek it and maybe do I'm thinking Mondays are like hour shows just to kind of give a touch on like what we're going to be doing through the week. Mm-hmm. Wednesday we're going to do like a sit down, maybe a brush up or a talk of like current entertainment news. And then Friday is the big show, which is going to be like 2 hours where first hour we go over the movie that we watched that week. And then
I like this.
and the second hour either take suggestions, interact with the crowd.
Yeah, I like that.
Get their opinion of the same movies, stuff like that.
I like that. That's a good layout, and we could still make time to talk about the other thing.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
But yeah, that's a good forecast. I like that. But I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody.
I was trying to make some sort of like connection like you just did, but I can't do it. I can't do it that fast. I got to think about it, and then I'm gonna be like, "Whoa, I should have said this."
But again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this post stream and you stuck around this long, thank you for.
Thank everybody who liked
here.
and followed and subscribed tonight. Want to shout out Stockbot and Stock. What is it?
Stockbeam.
Stockbeam. Stockbot. Stockbeam.
And Raven and James and Lando and everybody who came through.
Yes.
We're going to be doing a lot of stuff soon, so if you want to have us keep doing that stuff, please follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you want to support us directly, we have a link in the description that you can chip in to kind of help us keep doing this, and pretty much because at this point, like you're not just funding the podcast, you're gonna be contributing to the story that we're working on, and because those things cost money too. So
the drive is to make good media.
Absolutely, that's as far as like literature, music, shows, which is something that's going to be coming in soon. So I think that's it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Like and subscribe this video if you liked it, and comment what movies you'd like us to watch, and if you have any opinions, good or bad, of like what we think, please share. We do read the comments.
Yes,
and
we do.
And
it
we
hurts.
do And we respond too, and we also have a Discord. If you go to our Instagram, all of our socials are there. It's generally admitting on Instagram. I'm gonna be making I hate to say it,
A TikTok.
yeah, but I'm gonna be making a TikTok. And but I'm going to be doing a lot of like
What are those kids doing
YouTube
today?
Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, like just to kind of like add some highlights to the things that we talk about on here, so people can kind of chime in on there as well. Anything you'd like us to check out as far as like video games, movies, anything, even like a song, let us know. But thanks again, everybody.
Love.